I got this. All right. If you're all ready, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Good luck,
The
have fun.
classic. Good luck, have fun. All right, so yeah. I'm definitely gonna be interested what we're gonna see now after what I've seen for the last 2 hours. I'm pretty sure they're gonna beat us in points. That's what I.
Yeah, this is gonna be a good round for sure. Also, I just gotta say, congrats on that 97 manipped Decker blade that you got. That was really good.
Yeah, I mean, you've done some manip runs yourself. You know how hard it is to keep up the manip for 2 hours.
Pretty hard, but
And yeah, all those movement mistakes I
see it.
did were obviously. Oh, there's the first blue chest. Catfished already. That was quick.
Oh, by
Yeah,
the way,
so
Eli, are you doing the screen share thing for the no lag or what?
yeah, I'm watching the stream for the time being. Tech side is always, Shout outs to Eli, who's running and hosting all this, because running everything at once, especially right at the race started, not always that easy. But it looks like we're good now.
Just move the stream up here. Beautiful. All right.
Yeah, so apparently Mike already got an Iris Jewel, if you can trust chat on that. And
What kind of
yeah,
party?
the start of the it looks like the default party for Mrs. Mike, and is it right for Domskee? I'm not sure.
It doesn't look like anyone's doing the reject first, I don't think.
Yeah. I think we've seen that on the first day of runs, like on the first day of quarterfinals. But yeah, it looks like that hasn't proven as a strat.
Yeah, it seems like if you plan on getting to the jelly, it's actually better to just Providence out at that point and swap your party anyway. So, because like when I watched the first round a couple weeks ago, I was still kind of in fatal blowout mode where once you kill the jelly, you can't do anything. So I was like, oh, these people aren't going for these points, but you actually can go for the points still after you kill the jelly, which is, like we saw, pretty nice.
Yeah. It does help, I heard, yeah.
Yeah. You can even win with it, I hear.
Oh yeah, for sure. So both teams are bringing Gels, Flash, Blaze, and Gusto. They have the respective point for that. Both teams have already gotten the floor 1 to 10 challenge of having a capsule monster defeat an enemy. And I do see an additional point for HabKeineName and Domskee here, where Domskee has found a ring and equipped it. I missed which ring that was. It's probably not too important, but yeah, they do have that point, and I think I just saw a mystery ring for Mike. Oh, a protect ring. Okay.
Yeah, I think
so.
Speedy ring for Domskee. So yeah, that's pretty. That's pretty good. Speedy ring.
Yeah, that's nice.
Is agility is basically the most important stat in the cave. So even the little bit that Speedy ring gives you is pretty nice to have secured early.
Yeah, and it's I believe it's 10 agility, right? So I mean, it's not bad. It's not a jet helm.
True, but another good thing about it is if you brought Tia, which no one did, it gives you the all you need to survive Copper Dragons later on. And I'm sad that no one's rocking Tia.
Oh, I can understand it.
You know what? Tia's the best, all right.
I'm not gonna agree with that. I heard that if you put the snowstorm on her with auto equipped, then she sometimes fails you. But yeah, what do I know?
I mean, Whatever, dude.
That discussion again. But yeah, I think it's interesting that both teams actually have the exact same points so far. So what you can see in the stream is only the compiled points total, but if you type in !tracker, then you get a link to the full score sheet. You can see the players updating that score sheet live, and you will always see what the current points total is. And yeah,
Another thing
that's what I'm looking at.
I want to shout out before we get like into all the interesting floors of the cave is that if you're interested at all in running this game or playing it casually, or you just like Lufia, definitely think about checking out the AC Discord. We have a lot of people that really love this game, really knowledgeable about it. So whether you're trying to speedrun or you're just casually trying to enjoy it, it's probably the best community out there for all things Lufia at this point. So yeah, definitely give it a look if you're interested.
Yeah, I think we can safely say that people in there are helpful and trying to support newer players as best as they can. So yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of great resources too. I built out this entire website called AC Ref.
I've seen that actually. It's pretty good, man. Pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
I've
all
been
me,
there
no help.
like so many times, it almost feels like I did it myself. You can really feel
wait,
the
was
work
that you that made
you
it?
put into it. But it's fun.
Oh, that's right.
It's a community effort in the end anyway. It's not like I came up with everything that's in there by myself.
Yeah, I was just kidding. But yeah, the AC Ref is definitely one of the greatest tools I've ever seen for games like this, retro games, speed games. So definitely got to give you a shout out for that too. Oh, the good old Eagle strat. So for those unfamiliar of exactly how this works, it's an RPG roguelike where you start at level 1, and what everybody's basically trying to do here is open all of the chests and get as much safety levels as they can. And you see people on all sides are farming eagles, which are the safest and easiest experience to get early.
Yeah. And I did see someone get an Eagle Rock, however, from a chest. So I think that was Mike, who also just picked a jet helm that was not exactly talking about it in a nice way before.
I mean, it's free agility, but yeah, the Eagle Rock, however, is actually really good. It's 20 agility, right? I think it's 20.
I think it's 10.
No.
Is it 5?
Maybe it's
not sure.
You know what? Away your agility.
Let me hit up AC Ref.
But anyway, Eagle Rock's pretty rare. It's one of the rarer items in the entire cave, but it gives a nice agility boost in a slot that doesn't have many agility items. So finding that early is definitely going to help him out a lot.
That is right. It is 15 agility.
15. There.
I stand corrected.
It's a good amount.
Yeah. So the players are slowly closing in or are already in floor 11 plus. You can see Domskee fighting red cores here with weapons. They are those cores are very weak to magical attacks, but in this tournament you have a points incentive of killing them with a physical attack.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay, I see. I was wondering why you were trying to punch him. Yeah, I was like, what is going on here?
And there Domskee gets his first one. And from now on, of course, he can kill him with spells as usual. There was that other game, right, where some similar cores appeared. What was that called again?
Yeah, that was Dragon God Champion Warrior or something like that.
Oh, yeah. The name is so complicated, so I can't remember it. But
Dragon
yeah, exactly.
Odyssey, Dragon Conquest, something. Whatever game has those metal
I think
slimes.
That was a sequel. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, that one. That game. So the cores are similar to the metal slimes in that they are very rare-ish. They run away very easily, but they give you a lot of XP. So in a speed run or even in a kind of tournament setting like this, getting cores early and often is a huge boost to XP to where you really don't even have to farm anything else.
And there's like a couple of core pillars that you kind of want to build every run on, which is experience, you want equipment, and you want what's the other one? Healing spells. There you go.
Yeah.
It took me a minute.
It could be anything.
It could be
we'll go with healing. Healing's good.
Oh man, I feel like we're not doing this run justice just yet. We're gonna get there. Just a moment.
It's all good. But yeah, so cores, they cover basically the entire XP. If you get enough of them, you can get all your XP from cores and be totally fine on every encounter for the most part in the entire cave. So definitely going to keep an eye out on who can get cores, what kind of cores, and how many.
So Mike had to get past a red mimic there. It was probably one of the first more interesting things that happened. He was slashing in a way where he only had to encounter once and got the 50-50. So other than that, the early floors are pretty easy, pretty survivable. You're basically looking to pick up a couple of things that you can use later on, but other than that, you normally are not going to die in a tournament setting where you're going to pick up, like you said before, a couple of eagles and have some extra experience.
Yeah, another thing too that we're going to be watching out for those of you that are new to this tournament or maybe missed the first round or something is basically, since everyone's trying to get to the bottom of the 99 floor cave, we're going to be looking out for some specific weapons and stuff along the way, and we're approaching the floor for everyone where the most important weapon drops. And on floor 15, the Decker Blade starts dropping, and that item alone does half of the boss's HP in one hit. So with only 3 rounds to kill the boss of the Ancient Cave, doing half of his health in one hit is pretty important. So we're going to be watching for Decker Blades going forward, as well as some other items as we get closer.
Yeah, and like the name suggests, only Decker can equip it, which Arden, his amazing amount of HP, is making him basically a staple in any category where you're allowed to use him. He's really, pretty indispensable.
Yeah, you can kind of swap out other people in the run if you really want to. It won't be the most optimal party, but you can go fast with pretty much any party until you remove Decker. As soon as you do that, the entire run gets so much harder.
Yeah, which is interesting because escaping is determined by party agility. Enough said, and Decker is the slowest character. He's always going to slow you down when you try to escape, but like you said, it's still going to make runs harder without him than with him because you have to tank battles eventually.
Yeah, he not only can do the most damage to the jelly of anyone, but he also is the most survivable of anyone. So there's no real substitute for him. Another thing we're going to probably be looking out for coming up is I blanked. Oh yeah, when the mimics, blue mimics. Sorry, my brain's melting right now.
Oh, I would. I'm tempted to block those off of my mind as well after a couple of things that happened in the cave so far. But blue mimics are definitely a giant threat. They do show up reasonably early. So in a regular run, you just basically reset. It's not that big of a deal. But in a tourney run, they're going to hit you, like they're at floor 30 around. So in a tourney run, they're going to hit you at around 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. And at that point, it's just not great to see him.
Yeah, there's no real major roadblocks in the beginning of the cave until blue mimics. So everyone here is basically safe farming. But as soon as we hit floor 29, which we're still a little bit away, but it's definitely something we're going to have to watch out for because the blue mimics did some pretty decent damage in the last round. I'll just say that. May or may not have killed multiple people multiple times.
Oh wow.
So,
Okay. That doesn't sound good. I mean, I know my team didn't get hit by it, so at least I think so. I didn't.
yeah. They're not too common. It's not too common that you have to fight them, but sometimes you do. And when you do, it's all bad.
And I see HabKeineName fighting a Sandgorm here, which is an enemy you normally do not really want to encounter, nor actively try to encounter, like he did here. That is obviously for a point incentive from over 21 to 30, which I assume players are going to be soon going for, which is to earn a fruit from a battle. And there is a couple of options, which are Sandgorm, Green Clay, and later on Pugs and Evil Fish. None of those are really nice to encounter. So
yeah, they're all pretty rough for sure.
We'll see what happens.
There's a couple techniques you can use to get like first strikes on them and stuff, but if you don't have the equipment or magic to deal with some of the enemies, you definitely want to just kind of try and avoid them at all costs, which is why it's interesting that we have a point incentive for these enemies. Because I'm pretty sure also in the last round someone died going for Sandgorms.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong, but I think that's right, yeah?
I mean, they have the Sandstorm attack, which is not pleasant. It attacks the whole party. It's one of the more dangerous things in the early floor set. You're normally gonna try to avoid it, and there HabKeineName gets the Earth Fruit, so that's a point for their team. And I do not see either for HabKeineName or Mike. I do not see the defeat a red core with just attack inputs point, which means I think it's safe to say that they did not get red cores.
Yeah. They also potentially, depending on how many cores they fought, might have wanted to just skip that point for now, because if I saw 4 cores and I had the ability to kill them all with magic, I think I might skip that point the first time around and get it if I have to come back in. So
that's fair. Yeah.
Also, yeah, fatal pick for Mrs. Mike. So one of the other really important items we're going to be hoping people get in this is called a deadly, and there's a couple variations of a deadly weapon, but basically what it does is it's cursed, so you can't unequip it, but while it is equipped, it has an 80% chance to instant kill your target as long as it's not immune to instant death, like undead or something. So that makes getting through difficult and tanky enemies very easy, and we're hoping that everybody can get a deadly at least to make the run better.
Yeah. So I know this HabKeineName just found champion and finds himself in a room with a blue chest. So yeah, it looks like his run is going reasonably well, as I say that.
Yeah, he immediately died after you said his run's going well. So I don't think that we can call that the commentator curse or anything, but that was pretty good timing. So
does that qualify as a jinx?
I don't think so. I don't think so. But anyway,
I'm sorry.
It's yeah.
I do wish the best to all the runners, but
we were just talking too about how the enemies that drop the fruits in these that have a point incentive are pretty deadly, and that's proof of it right there. So
yeah, pugs are easy to underestimate because until they do incendiary, they're not too dangerous. I'm definitely guilty of underestimating them myself, but yeah, what you just saw can happen, and HabKeineName is not going to be happy about that.
Well, he does get rewarded with a mega axe right away, which will make kind of catching up a lot easier because you can throw that on Decker, and it's one of the highest attack weapons in the game, so should be good for a while.
Yeah, and Mrs. Mike gets a fail pick. I'm not sure who got the last one. You mentioned it, but
I think that was the one I saw was Mrs. Mike. I have not seen another deadly, I don't think.
Okay. I just found it, I think so.
Oh yeah. Okay, so that was her second fatal pick, meaning that if she gets a curse lifter and uncurses one of them, then she will get the point for having both a cursed and uncursed version of the same item, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, but of course it is worth noting that if you do uncurse the fatal pick, then it does lose a majority of its instant kill percentage. So interestingly, the fatal pick goes down from 80% to 25%, where every other deadly weapon goes down to 10%.
That is, yeah. I didn't know that. That's interesting. I thought they all went down to 25%, but that's good to know.
I mean, you know, it's gonna look the same if Artie uses it. So.
That's true, yeah. And who uses an uncursed deadly for the instant kill anyway, right?
Exactly. It might actually happen here, because the thing is, if you get in a dangerous situation and you do want to secure that point, if you have the curse lifter, and you do survive that situation, you could theoretically end up with a, you know, uncursed deadly. I mean,
yeah, it's true.
I don't wish that on anyone, but yeah.
There's her curse lifter, so.
Wow.
Well,
wow.
That's nice. Also, I want to point out too that Hab in the top right, when he went back in, he now has the capsule monster Fumi, or also known as Gels. I don't know if that's intentional because he forgot to switch back after he died, or if he just realized, oh, Fumi's actually the goodest boy, so I should be bringing Fumi.
It's probably the first one, to be honest.
I'm going to choose to believe otherwise.
Yeah, I mean... I'm not sure what he brought before. I don't think it was Fumi.
I don't
An interesting thing
either,
here is...
It could have been, actually. Either way, Fumi's the goodest boy. I just want to leave it at
that. Well, he's definitely better than certain other options, let's just put it that way. I'm not surprised that no one chose Gusto in this tournament.
So actually last round, I think Traffic Talks' team, they both took Gusto and then switched to Flash or something after a dozen or so floors. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but I remember seeing it and not exactly understanding the reasoning behind it. But I also don't completely understand the rules of this tournament. Because my brain is just mush at this point from running the cave too much in my life.
I mean, I can try and clearing it up, I guess, which is probably, I mean, I hope so anyway, which is probably going to be interesting for the viewers as well. If you type !tracker in chat, you will see the complete points overview of what the players are running here, and in the middle of the screen of the stream, you see the points that they have acquired so far. So... yeah, the tournament is, or the points objectives are basically split into exploration goals, which are in the center. Every 10 floors, there is a specific goal that players will have to do. Some of these goals are team goals, which are the circles split in the middle. Both players have to get that objective to be awarded a single point. And other points can be gotten by either player. And yeah, so that's the exploration goals. Then there is certain setups and party choosing goals, like which capsule they use on the top left, completion goals of how to kill the jelly on the top right, and then a couple of bonus goals, which are, yeah, bonus goals. We'll explain them when I get there. When we get there, I guess.
That was a great explanation.
I'm not sure if you're serious, but thanks.
I am serious.
Okay.
I was like, whoa, so professional. But anyway,
really?
So one thing I want to point out that's happening here is if you notice, 3 of the runners are running around a different tile set than Hab is. So one of the cool things, and also one of the bad things about the cave, is that I'm gonna interrupt real quick. Domskee just found a deck of blades. That's hype. I wanna I want to see that on the jelly, so I'm rooting for him now. But anyway, so at floor 21, the tile set changes from the tower tile set to the dungeon tile set. And then again at 41, it changes to the cave tile set. And then for some reason, the devs got lazy and just left it as the cave tile set for the next 60 floors, when we could have had such cool tile sets every 20 floors after that still. And I still wish we had a shrine tile set in the cave, because that would be really cool.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, we do have the jelly floor, and that looks nice, right?
That looks great, especially in the US version.
Yeah. Yeah, so Mike just found Rally. I also saw, so that is a not only a healing spell, but a revive spell, which is going to be very handy.
Yeah, rally is really, really nice to have. It's not the best at really anything that it does, but it is a revive. And if you don't have any other healing, you can use it as a heal. So definitely nice to have.
Yep.
Nice little movement right there by Mike too, to get the Mad Gorham outside of the stairs.
Just lure him around the bushes.
So speaking of Mad Gorham, maybe you want to explain how amazing the translations in this game are?
Yeah, it looks like the people are tasked with the job of translating this from Japanese to English have either had very little time or very little knowledge of certain lores. So we do get names like Hidora instead of Hydra, because that is the literal meaning of, or the literal reading of the Japanese characters for it. And yeah, a lot of translation flukes like that, which, I mean, you know, it doesn't make the greatest difference while playing it. Doesn't really matter.
Some of them are just
with
funny,
a few exceptions. Yeah, with a few exceptions. Like there's actually 2 deadly swords in the English version of the game. One of them is what we call the bad deadly sword, because it doesn't have an instant kill attack, and one you could call it a good deadly sword, but it's really just a normal deadly sword. It's not really good, but at least it has an instant kill attack.
Yeah.
And yeah, you have to resort to some interesting reading descriptions or paying attention to attack boosts to figure out which is which. Yeah, it's not pretty, but it works.
I'd say I just find it hilarious that the people that translating, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they weren't lazy and they just hadn't heard of these mythological creatures before, because it's supposed to be lich, but they call it a leech. It's supposed to be Rafflesia, like the flower, and they call it Lufia. Like, it's just such good names, you know?
Some of these you can even assume that they did it intentionally to be funny, but like the flower, but there has to be an end to giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Magic fruit there for Mike. That's a very, very good item to feed your capsule monsters with. It fills 8 bars no matter what form they're on, so that'll help them out, assuming he even wants to feed.
And we do see some capsule monster feeding for Domskee up there, so it looks like he's committing to Blaze.
Blaze is...
So he did get a fruit, so...
Blaze isn't the worst for the jelly. He at least can do some damage, so... you know, if you're going to take a point, I'd still go with Fumi because he's the goodest boy, but...
I know you would.
I should explain... The Elison says, "Hey, Dank Meats, you should explain how feeding works in great detail." So, no, I'm not going to do that. It's too complicated, it's broken, and it's buggy, and that's what I'm going to leave it at. I also don't know how it really works because it's so bad. I just know
I will also
things.
not go into it. I will also not go into it, even though I do understand in very detail, thanks to a couple of our runners, which did a lot of research on that. But it's a bit outside the scope of this run. However, if you want to know about it, you can type !AC Discord in chat and check out the AC Discord for this information or others. How did you like that shameless plug? It was pretty smooth, wasn't
It was pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
feeding.
feel good about that.
Feeding. There is like some nuance to it that you can figure out, but in general, it's not that important. So you just feed it small stuff in the first form and bigger stuff as it gets bigger, and you're good enough. That's all you got to really know.
So Mike just did the setup there to encounter evil fish in the doors and get a free back attack on them, but I think he decided not to actually follow through and trying to kill them because there was 4 of them. If like I only saw it out of the corner of my eye. I'm not exactly sure that that's what happened, but I think it is.
Yeah, if he doesn't have a fire spell, fighting 4 evil fish, even with a back attack, can still be pretty dangerous. So,
yeah. Oh, but he already. Oh, he has the fruit. So, did he kill him? I'm not exact.
Getting a blue core for Domskee up there. That's going to be a very, very nice experience for him.
Yeah, and the ruse armor from Mrs. Mike. Not a magic fruit for Mike, so it looks like he will definitely not have any problems feeding his capsules.
Yeah, so like we said,
yep.
Go on.
Oh, go ahead.
Like we said earlier, the first real roadblock is coming up pretty soon for some of these people. Yeah. In fact, yeah. So floor 29 to 31 is the blue mimics that we mentioned earlier, and those, they look like blue treasure chests, but they're actually monsters. They hit 10 times harder than anything else at this level, and they are very, very tanky, and they're pretty fast. So all of that together, they basically kill your run if you have to fight them. So we're going to hope that nobody here has to fight them. There is a point incentive. Oh, sorry. Really quick. There is a point incentive for killing them if you have to, if they're in your way. But, I mean, good luck. That's all I got to say. But go on.
Yeah. I was just going to mention that HabKeineName is actually the only one who is not past blue mimics at this point. But you're right. They are coming up for him. Everyone else is just barely after them.
Oh.
Like floor.
You're right.
32 to 35, something like that.
Yeah, I saw Domskee was past him, but I wasn't sure on the other 2. Okay, well that's good news. But then after that, so the green mimics.
The green mimics. Oh, I hope not. Yeah, that's another thing about the US version. It has some weird green chest tile set that doesn't appear in any other language for who knows what reason.
Well, it's because you guys don't have the color green in your language, I thought, right?
Right, yeah. Something like that. Domskee's fighting Garbos here, which is, I guess, a good point to mention that in these runs it looks like a random distribution of chests, but you actually have a very good way of compensating missing items by killing certain enemies and collector drops. So the Garbos that he's fighting here drop an item called the Cancer Rock, and the Cancer Rock allows you to do 5 attacks in the 3 turns of the jelly instead of just the 3. So it basically does the same as a 3 times weapon, which we call the finisher, which just does a whole lot of damage in 1 turn. So yeah, the Cancer Rock lets you turn any weapon into a finisher, so to speak.
Yeah, Cancer Rock is not only a great option for the jelly, but Garbosts are kind of nice to farm, especially in a marathon, because of the time that you come across them. They're pretty easy to defeat, and they give a lot of experience before you head into like ninjas and stuff. So ninjas being the next roadblock after blue mimics. That's another Decker Blade for Domskee, by the way.
Another Decker Blade.
Good thing Decker can dual wield them.
Yeah, I guess so.
He can't, but
he could.
He could.
He chooses not
to.
You know, he is already the best character in the cave, or to choose to play the cave. Doesn't want to look. Doesn't want to make all the other characters look too bad, you know.
Yeah.
He's a knight after all, so.
So speaking of the next roadblock that's coming up, ninjas, maybe you want to explain how fun ninjas are?
Oh, they're great. Yeah, I guess assassins first, ninjas after. They do share the same movement pattern, and the movement pattern is really the annoying thing because they move at twice the speed that you move at, and yeah, that means you can't really cross a room no matter, or not no matter how lucky you get with obstacles, but yeah, you're gonna have to get really lucky. Most of the time, they're gonna catch up with you. You have to fight them, and because they will always catch up to you again, it basically always means you have to kill them. So, yeah, we have come up with a couple of very interesting movement strats, but in the end, they are really annoying enemies. The best thing that can happen to you is actually, speaking of the floor 31 to 40 points objective, is that the assassins, which are coming up, are doing an attack called Terminal Blow, which can instant kill your characters. And that Terminal Blow will miss your characters. I'm getting some audio feedback here. And you will get a point for that. Or half a point, actually.
Yeah, another interesting thing too about ninjas is that they do too much damage. It's not fair. They can kill your whole party even if you're well prepared for them. So yeah, hopefully nobody has to fight them, and if they do, hopefully they get the luck they need to not die to them, because you can have a great run and still die to them if they just decide to be that way.
Yeah, so we see him at Mrs. Mike's screen right now, who, together with Domskee, appears to be ahead of everyone else, if I see that correctly. So there is the Terminal Blow missing, what's his name, Blaze. So that's actually her half of the point. So if the same happens to Mike, or if he gets, or if another instant kill attack misses him, then they get that 1 point.
Yeah, it's not very hard to get that point either, to be honest. There's quite a bit of instant death that enemies use in the cave, and most of it has no higher than a 50% chance, if that, to hit you. So that should definitely be something that Mike will be able to pick up soon.
Yeah, but we also see Ms. Mike right now getting her Maxim and possibly Decker killed by a Terminal Blow. I didn't see what killed Decker. And the most dangerous thing about these instant death attacks from enemies, and I guess assassins are the most dangerous enemy in that regard, is that they drain on your resources, right? Like normally with healing spells, you can just heal your characters back to full HP after a battle. But if you have to revive them, those items are much more valuable. And the spells to heal your characters cost more MP. So, yeah. They can definitely drain on your resources if you're unlucky.
Yeah, and that's one of the benefits to having, like, say, Rally over Valor. Valor is an infinitely better spell, but if you're low on, like, MP resources and stuff, you definitely don't want to have to be spamming Valor to revive people all the time, because you will run out very quickly.
Yeah, so Mike shows off using Rally to revive characters in battles, so he just revived Maxim there, and you can see his MP isn't even full, so yeah, you have 2 healing spells at best, which is Rally and Valor, that can revive you, and Rally of the 2 is the cheaper one, but for use in battle, it's really not that great, whereas Valor is just very costly. And it looks like we see some nice ad here. Shoutouts.
Shoutouts to the, was that a phone?
I don't know.
Take portraits straight, epic 108 megapixels.
You can crop photos. I heard, damn, I've never seen a software that can do that before.
Samsung
right now. Samsung. Nice.
Anyway, back to the race.
Yeah.
Now that Hob has
that was a proper ad break, I guess.
Yeah, now that Hob has spliced a Gades blade into his run, we're gonna go ahead and see see him fight some lions, which are very dangerous. Not something you want to fight. I know some people that like to go for the little thing where you run around them and stuff, but they just turn around on me so often that I don't do it anymore. It's just not worth it. They can, unless you have to fight them,
Same
they're
here.
pretty rough.
Yeah. I do like to kill lions for the lion fang, but I mean, I will do what you just described and try and get a back attack, but yeah, it fails like over 50% of the time.
Yeah, the amount of steps it takes for you to get behind them is kind of too many because they're a 2-tile sprite, so I don't usually go for it myself.
And I mean, in the end, it's only lion fang, right? And you're not even guaranteed to get it, so yeah.
It is a good item though, for sure. It gives agility and a 2x option, which is kind of trash, but the agility is always good. Anything with agility is good in the
Exactly.
game.
Exactly. No matter how little it is, because as you said before, every single point counts, or can count, even if you won't notice it or won't be aware of it. Yeah, so Mike here is at the shadows trying to get the Vile Laughter to miss him, but wow, Vile Laughter, it does have a 25% chance to kill you. And Domskee is the same enemies, by the way, so it does have a 25% chance to kill you, but yeah, today seems to be a good day for them.
Yeah, I was hearing you got hit a bunch of times with Vile Laughter last round.
Yeah, 3 times. Feels bad, man.
Ooh, we got a surprise attack on Mrs. Mike there from not horrible enemies, but not great enemies to get surprise attacked by either.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and Mike, if you watch his HP bars, there's kind of a problem with these points incentives. So, as you said before, they kind of do seem to be aimed at a couple of cruel objectives, right? So, Eli did a pretty good job at trying to find something that people would dislike, I suppose, but still go for. And yeah, you could see in Mike's screen that it's just draining a lot of his resources, and especially healing in battle is not what you want to do necessarily. But you gotta do what you gotta do for the points.
Yeah, the point incentives, like the risk versus reward for them, I feel like they're all pretty well balanced and pretty good incentives. A lot of the times in these tournaments, I feel like a lot of the point incentives are just not really worth going for. They're kind of just memey. But in this, they all kind of are good at showcasing like skill and difficulty and risk versus reward at points in the cave. So I'm pretty happy with them.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree, because they not only do they do everything that you said, but they're also making it very interesting during the runway, make decisions, whereas in our tournaments that we have before, not to say they were bad or anything like that, not at all, but you do sometimes feel like you do stuff at the beginning and then you try to go for the jelly kill and it's just a regular run in between, and that can't be said about this turn. And yeah, while I was talking about that, Mike finds a Deca Blade.
Nice. So we got one person on each team with the Deca Blade. I don't think Hab or Mrs. Mike have one, right? Oh,
I
and
think so too, yeah.
Here's the ninjas for Mrs. Mike. So this is what we were talking about there. Huge roadblock. Luckily, it's in the door sideways there, so she gets a 50% chance at a sneak attack.
And
she gets it, and it's only one. So
very
that
nice.
is great. But yeah, say that was 3 ninjas and she didn't get the back attack.
Yeah,
it potentially could be run over. That's how dangerous they are. So
yeah, so as you said before, they're pretty strong. So sorry.
I'm just saying it was nice to see. But go on.
Yeah, sure. I was gonna say they do have an attack called Knife Thrower, which hits your entire. I kind of pronounce that weird. Knife Thrower. There you go. Which hits your whole party. It's pretty strong. Or they just gonna attack you twice each. So those are the two options. Some other enemies get like the option of they're doing some spell or they're waiting for a turn. Not so the ninjas. They're gonna
so
try and
speaking
wreck
of
you.
Knife Thrower, You said it's a very high damaging attack. I heard that attack ignores defense. Is that true?
That is not true, no.
So yeah, there's a.
I'm glad you're bringing that up. If anyone out there thinks that it ignores defense, now is the time where you should reconsider. And like, yeah,
So
not true at all.
When I first joined the community, that's what I thought. I thought Knife Thrower and also Frenzy from the Blue Mimics ignored defense. A couple other people did, but in general, it only feels like that because the attack power of those attacks is just insanely high. So you're like, oh, they're punching me for 30, but knife throwing me for 100. It must be ignoring defense. Yeah. It's not. It's just a very strong spell or attack that you don't want to ever have happen to you, let alone 3 times in one round, which is pretty common.
Exactly. Or multiple times on the same floor, 3 times in one round, you know, that can happen. So it looks like Domskee finally got his shadow point, or his survive an instant kill attack point, which has taken it quite a while, not through his fault at all. Yeah, and he's at the session floors right now, whereas Mrs. Mike, as it just said, is at ninja floors already, which is about 10 floors further down. So you can see just how much time these objectives can take if you really commit to it. But I'm definitely not saying it was a mistake.
Thunder for Mrs. Mike. That is the strongest tier 3 spell besides Zap, but Zap is already exclusive. So Thunder is a very, very good spell to get. You can basically consider it a finisher for the jelly at the end.
Yeah.
And also she's on floor 46, which is the final ninja floor. So hopefully once she gets out of this floor, she's cruising for a little while. So gonna hope for no last minute ninjas. Oh, there's a blue chest too. Black Eye.
Oh, it's a Black Eye, nice. She also found the Deadly Rod not too long ago. So that is going to combine very nicely with the Black Eye, which is also going to increase your agility as much as pretty much everything else. I don't remember the exact values, but I'm just like it increases everything. Oh, yeah, right. Okay, so she would need a couple of curse lifters to make the Deadly Rod work.
Yeah. Still, though, Fatal Pick, until you get to the jelly, Black Eye Fatal Pick is just as good, so.
Yeah, so what she could do here in theory, I'm not saying it would be a good threat because there are reasons against it, but what she could do is uncurse the Fatal Pick right away, put the Deadly Rod on, and she would have that point and still have the 80% deadly. But, yeah.
I mean, at this point, I feel like that actually is probably the best move. Because, I mean, when she uncurses the Fatal Pick at the jelly or something, the best she's going to get is a 3x from Artie at that point, probably, to put over it. And Artie only has like one 3x that even does damage, really, so.
Yeah, I mean, the only scenario in which I can think that not using the Curse Lifter is better is if she finds a Deadly Sword, and it turns out that she needs to use the Deadly Sword IP at the jelly. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can see both things, I guess.
So Domskee here is on green cores, which are pretty important, I would say. They come right before ninjas. Like, literally the floor after green cores end is where ninjas start. So getting that huge boost of experience before going into ninjas is pretty nice. And this is the last floor for him to find them.
Yeah. And there are also, like we talked about the importance of cores before, green cores is the ones that you really want. They're going to boost your party by 33,000 experience, and if you don't know what that means, it's basically going to get your party from, am I going to survive ninjas? I hope I won't encounter them, to I probably will survive ninjas if I have to.
Yeah. No cores come later, and they are the final core, and they give the most experience, but I'd argue that green cores are probably just the most important because of where they come in the cave. Like, you really want that XP before ninjas, because you can get a lot of XP after ninjas from things if you have a deadly and stuff, so.
Yeah. Yeah, so Mrs. Mike is already at the end of the 40 floors here. So this is one of the last chances for her to get a jewel drop from enemies. And she gets it there, so she gets the Earth Jewel,
That's nice.
which is very nice. So yeah, one thing to consider for these things is if you're the person who's further down than your teammate, you kind of have to get those team goals, not knowing whether your teammate is even in the position to go for them, simply because you kind of want to give them the opportunity to do so. So I'm sure there's something that played into it here. But
Yeah,
I will
and
also say
also
there.
at the same time, Mike got 2 green cores right before ninjas. So
Oh,
as
nice.
a team, they're pretty much set for a while now, I think.
Yeah. But I also have to say that HabKeineName just entered floor 40, so he's only 4 floors behind Mike. So he cut up very nicely. Totally fine on the radar there for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna say too, the mega axe that he picked up like immediately after re-entering the cave is like, honestly, that's a huge get. So he was able to plow through and catch up with almost no problems. So that was pretty good.
Yeah. So Domskee has to fight a couple of wheel eels here. They're stuck in the door, which unfortunately happens with a couple of enemies. And as important as movement is in the game, you can do a lot of things, or you can avoid a lot of enemies and survive a lot of situations that the uninitiated runners seem unsurvivable. Yeah, sometimes you just have to ply your way through it. Also, there is a trick for Mrs. Mike, and an item I already forgot for Domskee that I still thought was interesting. Oh, an iris. Oh, was it Mike? I'm sorry.
What's the there is a point instead of for like total iris items between party members, right?
That's right. That is 5 items between the team's players, and interestingly, you can die, get the same item, and it's gonna count twice, or up to 5 times, I suppose, if you make that happen. So really, every time you see an iris item on the screen, it is gonna count for the team's point.
We got a Domskee up here. Go on.
No, go ahead.
He's looking for a twist jewel, which is the best agility item in the game besides Dragon Spear, but that's, you don't usually get an opportunity to use Dragon Spear in the typical run, and you don't find it. So twist jewel farming is very, very important for marathon settings like this, where you want to make sure that Artie goes before everything that you encounter. It gives 30 agility. It's nice. So we're gonna hope he gets one of those, and everyone gets one of those, because they're pretty easy to. The enemies that they drop off are pretty easy to kill. And yeah, I saw that too. That's
yeah. There is a Deca Blade for Mrs. Mike now. Damn. So yeah, unlike the last race, this is looking very promising in terms of jelly kills. So we already have 3 runners with the Deca Blade.
My goodness, Mrs. Mike just got a second curse lifter.
That's right. Yeah, that is an uncursed deadly rod if she wants.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, there's the point for having the uncursed and cursed fatal pick. And now she appears to be going straight for the deadly rod. Yep. That is good. So just between Deca Blade and deadly rod,
immediately uncursed.
Yeah, it looks like she is making sure she doesn't do that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I didn't think she would. I'm just joking.
Yeah, so Deca Blade and uncursed deadly rod is huge, and she has thunder, I think. So she's like 1 item away from killing the jelly at this point. 1 good item. Yeah. So that's solid.
Finisher specifically. So she's got all the fractionals that she could hope for. Fractionals being attacks that deal, like the name suggests, a fraction of the jelly's HP. and you need finishers, which is big damage weapons to finish him off. And I'm not sure if she has that other than Thunder, yeah. But I am being told that she probably has a Cancer Rock.
I think she
Which
does
would
have
be
a
good.
Cancer Rock, yes. So yeah, that could be enough of a finisher if she finds a high enough attack power item to pair it with.
Yeah, so we see her encountering Sirens here, which is the floor 51 to 60 objective. So technically you could do it with a couple of different enemies, but I don't think anyone has chosen different enemies than Sirens so far.
It's the easiest, I'd say, and they're not like what she's doing right now, where she's only going against one. It's not that dangerous. So
yeah,
definitely.
yeah. If you can manage to kill all the what are they called, armor dates, I think.
Yeah.
They have pretty much no chance to actually kill you. And there she gets the point. So all you have to do is you have 3 of your characters afflicted with a status ailment. Your capsule monster is immune, so that leaves 3 out of 4 characters of your main party. You just got that in one swing. Not first try, but close enough for sure.
Yeah, and it's really shown off too, because I'm pretty sure. So Mike, and Mrs. Mike have been practicing pretty hard over the last couple months for this tournament, and it's definitely showing. They are going about these points pretty methodically, and it's paying off.
Yeah, so you saw Mike encountering those pink plants, which killed Happy in the first run. But if you got a couple of deadlies and you're lucky, and you got the agility, which I think is what happened here, then yeah, you're very encounterable. Not that you would go for it if you didn't have to. Ever.
We're gonna hope Domskee gets this twist jewel right here, because he's probably running out of options to find them. They only appear for a few floors. These
exactly.
So.
And he's been at it for a while now, actually. So just like the Shadows and the Violator farming, this has taken a bunch of his time. So the runners are approaching the halfway point of the overall race. So this is a 2-hour time limit. And none of them needs to worry at this point about the time too much. I think it's time well spent going after these items, but yeah, we seem resorting to killing Tartonas here in order to get the point.
Another thing too is since at least 3 of the 4 runners have a Decker Blade, to at any point they could be in go mode pretty quickly, so taking your time right now isn't that big of a thing, you know. They could just choose to start zooming at some point if the time gets low.
Yeah. So HabKeineName faced a couple of Iron Golems there and then gets away easily enough this time, but yeah, those enemies can kind of mess you up. Especially if they get a surprise attack.
Ooh, Sly Fox is in the bot, right? Sly Foxes are not fun to fight.
Nope.
They can do thunder on you twice, or they can attack you 4 times. They're pretty fast, and their movement pattern is kind of annoying, because it's definitely a movement pattern that seems designed for a 1-tile sprite, and then when you throw it on a 2-tile sprite, it doesn't go as smoothly. They get in your way a lot, so.
Oh, there is the second Decker Blade for Mike. And yeah, as it's been mentioned in chat, these floors do kind of increase with, the difficulty does increase with the floors. So this is a roguelike, which means that enemies are anchored to certain floors, so we can say that if ninjas will appear, they will appear from floor 44 to 46, for example. They will never appear before or after that, but how many of them will appear, we don't know. So yeah, with going further through the cave or going further down through the cave, you will see harder enemies, such as the Sarfakos that Mrs. Mike is fighting right now, which are not enemies you will be happy to encounter for reasons that you can see here. But Actually, the point that runners are really trying to reach is for 88, which from which point on, enemies have very foreseeable movement patterns, and generally you can consider runs being safe if they get there.
Yeah, it's unlikely. It can still happen where your run can die past 88,
Yeah.
but in general, because there's only really 2 types of enemies left and their movement patterns are very easy to pick apart, it's usually considered the safe zone. But before that,
and you're definitely yeah, exactly. I was about to say you're definitely going to be happy to reach it because the enemies are before that. But go ahead.
yeah. So the final real roadblock of the cave is archfiends, and kind of genies and stuff. So we got a while before we get there. But yeah, that spot is kind of the final challenge that you're presented with.
Yeah. It almost feels like they wanted people to relax on the later floors. Well, or maybe because of gold dragons they didn't. But
Yeah, it's
yeah, from a speedrunner's perspective, it definitely looks like that.
it's hard to say what they intended with a lot of the decisions they made, to be honest. Like blue mimics, what did they intend? I can only assume the intention of blue mimics is a gear check to see if you've providenced out with some blue items like previously. Other than that, I don't know why they're there.
I'm pretty sure they intended for them to be. I mean, they're really easy to recognize visually. So I'm pretty sure
True.
they intended for them to be just like enemies you should avoid. But then, of course, since they can spawn indoors or on stairs, even, I'm pretty sure that's the part that they didn't consider.
Yeah,
But,
that makes
yeah,
sense.
my guess is as good as yours.
Yeah, it's one or the other, but definitely still don't know why they have to be so strong.
Yeah, it's not great, especially in attorney. Domskee just found Rally here, which is definitely going to help him. I don't know if he had Rally, if he had Valor before, but I don't think he did.
Yeah, that and
Mike.
Yeah, Mirror Plate for Mrs. Mike. That's a armor items don't really do all that much in the cave, but there are a couple with high armor values that definitely will make a difference. So Mirror Plate is one of those.
Yeah, basically it's the blue chest gear, I think, right? Is there any other one that? Well, I guess there is stuff like old armor, but
Old armor,
you're not gonna.
plate or something. Yeah.
Yeah. At the point where you get those, they're not gonna be good enough to reduce damage by too much. So Mike is actually dancing with the sirens here more than, the figure of speech. So, and there we go. Now he has all characters afflicted by silence, which is good for him because that counts. And he is still able to happily escape the bell. Oh, he input the escape command before the bell, so going really safe here.
Yeah, that
so
was
very
actually
nice. He gets the
perfect
points
timing.
as well. Yeah.
And stronger to reward him for that. Another
That's
thing
very nice. You can never. Go ahead.
I was gonna say another thing too. He's about to farm Hydoras, but you can go ahead and explain that one.
I was just gonna say that you can never have too many healing spells and options because they all have different MP costs and effects. So they all kind of do something different. And at times you want to use strong, which is gonna give you at the start of the cave the best, MP to healing ratio. And sometimes you want champion battle, for example.
Absolutely. But yeah, what I was gonna say is, speaking of old armor, Domskee just gets an old armor.
Yeah.
And we're gonna see
Mike gets Iris armor.
We're gonna see people farming for Hydora rocks. I don't know if anyone's passed them all the way yet. I don't think so.
Don't think so.
Hydora rock is one of the best items you can get for the jelly because it turns any weapon that you use into basically a 3 times attack on one of the turns. So you can pair it with really strong weapons and do a lot of damage to the jelly. So since they're farmable and they're pretty easy to farm, we're going to see people going for those for sure.
Yeah, and it's basically, it has the same effect in the Cancer Rock as I explained before, but it comes with the added benefit of having an agility boost. And that, of course, as we mentioned in a couple of opportunities, is always going to be good. Oh, and attack power boost as well, I should mention that.
Yeah, it's
So Mrs.
overall
Mike
amazing.
Yeah. This Mike gets the old armor here as well, which is interesting because it's a rather rare item.
It's actually got a really good IP too. If you don't have healing.
And we do see her lure the gold gorm away from the door in order to get into it, which is very nicely done. Those enemies are actually not that scary if you know how they move, and as soon as you stop being scared of them, you can usually use that to your advantage very easily.
Yeah, gold gorms are they're very dangerous when you have to fight them, and when you start running the cave, their movement is very scary because they run at you really quickly, but they only move 2 spaces every so often. So once you actually learn the movement pattern, it's nothing. Usually, until they're in a door, I guess.
Yeah, sometimes you have to kill them, and the problem is that actually being in battle with them is not great. So I just see Mrs. Mike fighting Sphinxes, which is the floor 61 to 70 objective. So she uses a freeze ball in them, which is one of 4 ways in total that I'm aware of anyway, that you can inflict the status ailment on them. So freeze ball inflicts them with paralysis. As you can see here, the Sphinx is quite triggered. And there are a couple other ways. I think Domskee found deflect before, if I remember correctly. So yeah, the thing with that floor goal is that it's a team goal. So both players will have to make it, or will have to fill the objective in order to actually get the point for it. So until then, this Mike getting that is not going to get their team anything.
Luckily, Sphinxes are pretty easy though, so Mike will be there soon.
Yeah, I'm not aware if he has one of the methods to inflict the status ailment on him, but I guess we'll see. And also, HabKeineName has made it to pretty much the same floors that everyone else is in, and has even overtaken Domskee here in terms of floors. So yeah, that death early on has not hurt him in the slightest. In the meantime, Mrs. Mike is over 10 floors ahead of everyone else, it seems, which is very nice. Being at almost floor 70 at 1 hour and 8 minutes is going to be a very nice pace for her. She has a lot of time if she makes it to a jelly to go for literally any objective she wants to after that. And one thing to consider is, just let me say that really quick. One thing to consider is that the run doesn't end when you kill the jelly. So what you can do is actually go for that earn a fruit from a battle goal that she hasn't gotten yet, because she missed it on the first goal on the floor 21 to 30, and get that again. So yeah, very nice. But you go ahead.
Oh yeah, sorry. The latency is a little hard sometimes to get over, but
yeah, sure.
One thing I was gonna say, and I totally forgot it now. It's like I said before, my brain melted a long time ago. But yeah, there you go. Good explanation.
Nice. Yeah, I'm glad you told us about that. Because that's something that people often miss.
True.
Oh, and Mike just took a death. Whoa, what happened there? I did not see that.
That is unfortunate, because not only does he lose 1 Decker Blade, but he loses 2 Decker Blades. Not that he could have ever used the second one, but...
Exactly.
Maybe he already hit his Decker Blade quota for the day, you know what I mean? Those things aren't that common.
Well, he is going to get a couple more floors to get another one, it seems like, because at an hour and 10 minutes, he only has 50 minutes left, and he is a very fast runner. I do think that he is capable of getting a 50-minute run, but I very much doubt he is going to be able to get it in this very run or in this very attempt. So, yeah. I guess he's sleeping on the couch tonight. I love it. Yeah, I mean.
Well, I mean, we
we
saw basically the same thing sort of happen last round, because Hoppy ended up dying, but Mrs. Mike could basically pull the same thing that Hoppy's partner, I can't remember who he is, but pull basically the same thing. Yeah, some noob, and get a jelly kill still, and that could be enough points. So definitely that death. Mike might just go for some safer points now, and they're still totally in it. So
yeah, and she just found the Sizzle Sword, which is also a very strong weapon and always going to be welcome. So I think her setup looks pretty good. That's an interesting way to. I was going to say that's an interesting way to get the genie off the stairs. But I think it didn't quite work out the way she intended it to.
The door wraps around at the bottom. Should be fine, but it looks like it doesn't. Oh, she's on actual genies. I was literally about to correct you and be like, those aren't genies yet. But they are. And I'm stupid.
She is really far ahead compared to everyone else.
She is zooming.
Yeah, yeah, so... Yes, as Chaz letting us know, Miss Mike is packing a Uncursed Deadly Rod, Decablade, Sizzle, Cancer, Thunder, and Trick, so by all means, that should be enough to get a kill.
Yeah, unless you get really bad fractional rolls, which is possible, but you know, on average, that's looking pretty solid right now, so definitely a good chance. Plus, there's totally time to get a ton of safety levels still, just to boost that flat damage up that the characters are going to be doing, so shouldn't be too big of a problem.
Yeah, not just safety levels, but also go for literally all the objectives that are left, because one thing to consider is that Domskee and HabKeineName are both in the game still, and they both have a shot at a jelly kill, which is going for the most points, whereas Mike unfortunately has died already, so Team Mike does have a bit of a disadvantage in that regard. With 48 minutes left, they have to work a lot harder to make something out of this run, right?
Well, so far, Hob still doesn't have a Decker Blade, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, so until he finds one of those, it is possible to kill the jelly without Decker Blade, but it's far less likely. So until he finds one of those, I'd say they're kind of still pretty even.
Oh yeah, I mean, the points are definitely close enough together for, you know, more than 3/4 of an hour left in the run to like call it. It's too early to call anyone away at this point, of course. I was just basically saying that is what I would consider if I were in Team Mike, is that the other team has a lot more options in terms of which goals to get.
True, yeah. Yeah. So from Mike's perspective, yeah, he definitely does not know. I don't think. Whether or not they both have a kill, so they're definitely probably sweating.
If they're listening to the commentary, they know now. I hope we're not backseat gaming here too much, but in the end, that is what we're being paid for.
Yep. Ooh, we're getting a no core for Hob up there. That's some good experience.
Yeah, and he has that Demon's Crest capsule monster I've never seen before, I don't think.
Oh yeah, the Demon's Crest capsule monster. So that was actually an update done in like 2016. Demon's Crest and Lufia had a collaboration event, and they brought the Demon's Crest capsule monster into the game as a celebration of 15 years of Lufia or something.
And the more you know. 15 years in 2016.
Or 20,
Yeah.
20 years.
They were a bit late.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
I'm just
I
glad
mean,
that the
game...
devs are still patching this game and adding new content.
Yeah, you can say that. Oh, HabKeineName just found Deflect, so I'm not sure which floor he's at, but if he is actually at Sphinx floors or before that, that might help their team get the goal. But I will say I'm completely lost as which floor both Domskee and HabKeineName are at. Oh yeah, it looks like I can still get the goal there now.
I didn't see got in first on Miss Mike's screen. I might have just missed it though. Yeah, looks like I missed it. Never mind.
Apparently,
I was for a second. I was like, wait, did she just faceless head on? Because that's bad. But she didn't. I'm just stupid.
Nah, it's hard to follow all 4 streams at once here, and I'm sure we're missing more than half of it. So yeah, you never know.
Some dangerous enemies on Hobb's screen up there. Luckily, he's not getting too bad RNG.
Yep. Yeah, so I never mentioned it so far, but there is a floor goal from 71 to 80, which is why Mrs. Mike was encountering those Orkies in the first place, which is to win a battle that has at least 1 Orkie. So I guess just to mention it for the people who don't know, the Orkies are a very dangerous enemy. They attack a whopping 8 times per turn. And yeah, not with a very soft attacks, let's just put it that way. If there's 2 of them, that obviously adds up to 16 attacks. I did the math for you. And that is not something you want to have coming your way. So, what?
So this is some quick maths.
Oh, yeah. I'm good at that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, just those 2 numbers, though. But, yeah, I mean, I can definitely see her retreating from that battle because 1 Orkie is enough to get the point. Why mess with 2 if you don't have ways to guarantee that they won't attack you? Oh, in the meantime, Mike is getting hit by Frost here, and that is almost obliterating a party. That was close. I mean, it wasn't close. Decker's at 71 HP. But...
Yeah, this is why we were talking about earlier about how important Decker is. He can survive any. That was in the front row too. If she moved him into the back row, he would have taken way less damage still. So right. Yeah, Decker's just too good.
Yeah, definitely shout outs to Decker. MVP in I guess every Lufia run ever. That allows him.
We got a little dragon blocking the stairs for Hob.
And a lot of cores here for her.
Oh yeah, he's good. He's gonna kill him. Red dragons aren't too scary, but they have been known to kill Mike in this this round of the tournament already. I think, right? Those red dragons.
Oh, I'm not sure. I actually didn't see what killed him. I thought it was those what are they called, armor nails, but I'm not sure. I missed it. Either way, Mike just found Iris Jewel, so I think their team is at 4 Iris items, if not 5 already. Oh yeah, it is 5 already, so Mike just marked it. And as soon as Mrs. Mike marks her half, and that just happened, they just got the point for the 5 Iris items, so very nicely done. And we actually see a tie here at 11 to 11. I mean, the chances of one of these races ending in a tie are pretty small, but you know.
Yeah, and here's what we're talking about with the patience for Mrs. Mike. She was able to find an Orkie battle that just had 1 Orkie. Unfortunately, though, Artie, being the blind elf that he is, missed the deadly attack on the Orkie, which, and then she instantly escaped. So,
which is a good call.
Yeah, for sure. Not really in
I like
danger
the
of dying
strat.
there, but
Yeah, I guess as long as you outspeed them, yeah. I like the strat of attacking the current, which is the, I guess, turtle enemy, with all the R characters, and having your deadly user attack the Orky, especially if the current is in the front row, but even if it is in the back row.
yeah.
And
there we
there
go.
it goes. Orky's dead, and that is a full point for the Mike team.
Yeah, Mike's gonna need to start pulling his weight here, or he's gonna be sleeping on the couch. That's all I know. He's getting carried pretty hard right now.
Yeah, he has a couple of bonus incentives there to do well in this tournament, I suppose. Yeah. It's definitely a close race, and I'm glad to see that 3 of the 4 runners still have a very good shot at getting a jelly kill here. So, yeah,
This
it
is
looks
still real
close now,
close.
but yeah, it's probably gonna shift in I don't know which direction very, very soon.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to watch out for basically what happens on the Archfiend floors to everyone, because those could so easily kill anyone's run at this point that it's still up for. She's on 80 already. My goodness.
Yeah,
And
he's
so
on 80 in the suit.
yeah, she's
Go ahead.
like not even that far from being past Archfiends altogether.
Yeah, exactly. They stop at, well, the last floor they appear at is 87. And as I mentioned before, that's the floor you're looking for. So while we've been talking about that, she's at 82. So yeah, she's definitely in a hurry, it seems. So there is a floor 81 and 90 objective, which is to kill all 4 types of genies, which is fire, water, earth, and wind, I guess. The thing is, there is very little point in trying to go after an objective, because it's only a point that they're going to get awarded if both players of the team are getting it. And Mike is probably not going to run down and killing a bunch of genies for half a point there. I would say it's not really worth it, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, so she can easily skip that point, concentrate directly on the later floors. But she has a lot of time to work with. As a notable mention, there is an objective of providencing out, changing an entire party, and then a second objective, both being worth 1 point. That after you defeat the jelly, you exit the cave, you raid the treasure room, and you providence out with your items. So, yeah, she's definitely at a very great pace to do that as long as she gets the kill. And even if she doesn't, she can go back in the cave and rack up a couple of points. So yeah, if you want to follow the fun objectives that I'm talking about, you can type !tracker in chat if you haven't already, and click on that link, and that is going to show you the full score table of everything that we're nerding about in here in commentary. And you will get a better idea of why these people are suddenly encountering Orkies, even though they don't need to, and other seemingly questionable decisions from, a usual perspective coming from the speedrun background. This tournament is, changing a couple of things in that regard. It's always nice to mix it up, I guess.
Yeah, hold on. I'm just checking one sec. What is Mrs. Mike's PB? Is she gonna PB here too?
Perhaps. I'm not sure what her PB is. I thought it was better than 130, but I'm not sure.
Oh, okay, maybe.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure they are.
She's relatively new-ish still. So
yeah,
obviously she's doing great, but I wasn't sure what her PB was, so would have been interesting.
Did you find it? Because I didn't.
I didn't see it on speedrun.com, so I'm not sure. But
oh yeah, same. Okay. Yeah, I mean, one thing that I really like about this tournament is that you usually got these well, with exception of my team, I guess, you get these teams of like one more seasoned runner and then one new runner, I will say, and which isn't meant to be saying that it's one good and one bad player, not at all. But like with more
Yeah,
experience,
clearly,
more
if you're looking
experiences.
at this one,
Well, what?
Mrs. Mike is. Oh, I'm just saying, Ms. Mike is the non-veteran runner, and she is hard carrying. So, yeah,
Oh
you
yeah,
definitely can say that it
for sure.
is not. We're not talking about skill when we talk about how new they are.
Yeah, but I mean, even though I didn't see what killed Mike, I'm pretty sure that it wasn't lack of skill that killed him, right? So yeah, I mean, in general, what I was getting at is not skill or seniority or anything like that, but just the opportunity to get a couple of runners together that otherwise, that's why I said probably not true for my team, that otherwise wouldn't get together and do cave runs as a team. And yeah, you're just getting these very interesting races here, where even if one player dies, the other player can still carry them. In my opinion, it's a very interesting concept, and I'm glad that even new runners, even though, like you said, either like neither Domskee, who is also relatively new to the community, as well as Mike, who has been here for, I guess, half a year now, a bit more than half a year. They're both reasonably new, but neither of them needs to be hiding behind the "I'm new" flag, I guess, because they're doing pretty awesome here.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
So Domskee, he doesn't mess around. He just goes for the double Orky. It looks like he has status balls and double deadlies, if I see that correctly. So he gets those Orkies easily enough and scores that point, which gets their team to 13 points over 12 points for Team Mike. So it is very close, and it's staying really close.
My stream closed. Hold on. Still there.
All right. So I will try. I see Mrs. Mike fighting genies here, and I'm not exactly sure how she got in that situation, but it's perfectly possible that she decides just to get those genies because she really has a lot of time on her hands. Basically, she might as well kill them for the experience and half the goal, maybe for bragging rights. Oh, and it looks like she did have to kill them.
Ooh, is this a forced blue mimic fight on Mike right here? It's in the way. He doesn't have to kill it, but I think if he has to go through that door, he does. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, which is good.
Yeah, nice. That could have gone way
escaping,
worse.
So... Oh yeah, okay. So that would not have gotten them a point, which I'm sure wouldn't have prevented them from marking it anyway. But yeah, in order to get that point objective to kill blue mimics, you actually have to be needing to kill them in order to progress. So that was not the case here. He could escape. Therefore, even if he killed them, that would not have been a point.
See, that's the one rule that we do a lot that I kind of think like you might as well just give anyone a point for defeating blue mimics because that is, I mean, if you go for that, you're not gonna get it, right? Like they're gonna kill you most of the time. So you might as well give anyone a point that wants to risk their entire run of blue mimics. I feel.
I mean, yeah, he just faced two blue mimics here, so those are definitely killable. I will say one of them was in back row, which is good.
Oh my
So,
goodness!
yeah.
Smith blade for Mrs. Mike.
Ooh. I just saw that too. Yeah, not that she needs it, but
She potentially has a two-turner on her hand at this point.
yeah, it is interestingly upgrading her Cancer Rock.
Yeah.
Because before that she had a Sizzle Sword for it, and yeah, Mythblade is gonna do much better work for that. And Guy can equip it, which I don't think he can equip the Sizzle Sword. So yeah, that is gonna be a lot of additional damage here actually. And when I say a lot, I mean like 200. But
Are you talking about using the Cancer Rock IP over the Mythblade IP?
yes, exactly. Because she already has Deca Blade and Anker's Deadly Rod, right? So she's very good on her. Oh, I'm being told that she has 2 Cancer Rocks. Why not? So, never mind.
I think personally, I'd still even go with the 3 fractionals at that point, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Well, I think so, yeah. Maybe if it wasn't a Myth Blade, I would do something different, but
I see.
I still think it's probably better to try and get the 2-turner with the 3 fractionals than it is the other way around. Not that a 2-turner... I don't even know if 2-turner... Does 2-turner give a point in this tournament? I don't even think it does.
It does not.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
It will give you an awesome shout-out from the commentary.
That's true.
Assuming we don't miss it. But I'm pretty sure we won't.
I feel like that's one of the things that, if I missed that, I should never, ever be invited to commentate again.
I might quote you on that. Yeah, I see that. That is hopefully...
Oh, and she was fighting.
That is a bit of a pickle here. So those genies have a 24% chance to use a special. So she basically needs none of those genies. And I see a Frost. That is not going to be close, I'm afraid. That is unfortunately a total defeat for Mrs. Mike. So, I mean, the good news about that is that Mike's going to have company on the couch tonight. The bad news is that they basically lose a lot of points here, or a lot of potential points. Let's put it that way. The other team is not there yet. But yeah.
Yeah. So she was zooming, but 30 minutes to get back to where she was is not gonna happen probably without some kind of miracle. So. Yeah, they're definitely going to have to hope that the point incentives that they missed on the way down to that spot are enough now to overcome whatever Hab and Domskee can come up with.
Yeah. It looked like, as of course, I didn't see it from the start, but it looked like the typical situation where you're facing 3 genies. You're pretty sure that your deadly is going to kill one of them, but the deadly misses because it's on Artie.
True.
And then, you know, even though it's only a 24% chance to use their attack, 2 genies used special. That part I saw. So,
yeah, I
sometimes.
Yeah, she got a surprise attack by the genies, I think is what happened.
Oh, so I see.
Lost a 50-50, it looks like.
I see.
Yeah, so there's not really much she could have done once that she got surprised, other than hope that they didn't do what they did. So
yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, so it is also unfortunate that Team Mike is already behind by 3 points. So Domskee and HabKeineName here are really pulling their weight. Pulling their weight, same team. Yeah, they're doing very good, clearing the points objectives. Out of all the ones up till floor 80, they have only missed earning a jewel. Like, one of the players has missed earning the jewel, so they don't get that point. But other than that, they have cleared every single floor objective. And
yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I don't think we've seen... Oh, I'm not sure. Maybe we have seen it, but this is definitely going to be one of the most complete clearings of the floor or exploration goals overall in this tournament so far.
Yeah, and Domskee, I don't know all of what he has, but I know he has at least the Decker Blade and probably a couple other things. So
yeah.
Even if he doesn't have anything besides the Decker Blades, that's pretty much half of what you need, so you can fill that out with a lot.
Exactly, like you can see him encountering Gorgons right here. They drop a Gorgon Rock, which is not to be confused with the Gorgan Rock, which is spelled differently, and the Gorgon Rock actually has a 1/8 fractional, so 12.5%, and yeah, they are another nice way to compensate for missing equipment. So he is fighting them here, which might have a couple of different reasons. Oh, and HabKeineName is actually fighting the same ones, and he gets the rock. Domskee, that is.
Yeah, that's
so yeah, that's very nice.
Another thing I like about fighting the Gorgons is they're just so easy. They're never gonna wipe your party, right? And it's just you can get a Gorgon Rock, and they give nice experience that can help pad your stats a little bit for pretty much free. So definitely in a marathon worth farming for a Gorgon Rock.
Yeah, the fractional is one thing. They boost your attack power if you choose to go for that. So yeah, very nice. The drop rate is 15%, I believe. I always get this wrong, so it's probably 20. But
I think
it's
it is
something in
15.
Okay. And yeah, I mean, notorious for not getting it when you need it, of course. It will look like that, but it's definitely a great item to have.
Yeah, I personally feel like I get extra unlucky with Gorgons. I see one out of maybe every like 20 kills or more.
Yeah, I think I got a single one in 2020 actually.
Yeah,
it's gonna be great.
It's rough sometimes.
It happens. I also just saw that I was guessing before that Domskee had double deadlies, but he actually does not have a deadly on Artie. He only has a deadly sword on Maxim. So that's gonna make.
He does.
Yeah, I see a curse lifter there. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good setup, actually.
It is a good setup, but I mean, it is a third fractional, and not having a deadly rod or a deadly for Artie for that matter is going to make the floors he's on a bit more difficult because Archfiends in particular, you will never be able to outspeed him with Maxim. That is why the deadly sword is not quite on par, or that's one of the reasons why the deadly sword is not quite on par with the deadly rod or fatal pick in terms of options. So yeah, let's hope he doesn't get in a dangerous situation here. And
yeah, I was more meant for like the jelly. It's a good setup for the jelly, but yeah, deadly sword is definitely the non-optimal deadly to have to get to the jelly.
Yeah. So. Yeah, whereas at the jelly, it is arguably, well, it's not necessarily always better, but it can be better. So Domskee apparently going for the genie kills here, it looks like, because he does see the stairs. But chooses to encounter them anyway. I did not see which floor he's at, but it's a bit deceiving. The goal only counts from floor 81 to 90, and I'm assuming he's there. But if you encounter genies on floor 80, it will not count towards the goal. And of course, I haven't been paying attention to it, so I will not be scrutinizing him for for counting any genies that happened before. That's Eli's job, I suppose.
With how methodically Hab and Domskee are going for their points, I'm sure they're on top of being on the right floors for him, at least.
Exactly. So HabKeineName, he seems to be one item short from feeding his capsule to the next level. That's funny, but not that funny to him, I suppose. Just found the Dia Ring, which as an IP attack has the strongest spell in the game, but it can only be used by girls. So, in the meantime, Domskee's picking up a Thunder Jewel here.
And
just boosting attack power by a lot.
Which is real
nice. Yeah, so he has Rallying Champion, which is basically the best combination of healing spells that you can have, I would say. Because you have a cheap revive and you have a cheap heal that is healing a lot of HP at one point. So, I mean, he's basically through the dangerous parts of the cave. Oh, I see a treasure room for Mike there. That is not pretty. But there is a blue chest there, so I hope he's gonna get that one. And there we see Blaze. That is... that is Phoenix form. Getting an appropriate name.
He almost spelled meats, but then he spelled meow.
I'm pretty sure that's a typo. I'm pretty sure he was going for meats, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
So, Domskee has marked the Evolve a Capsule Monster to its M form goal, but HabKeineName has not yet. If I'm not mistaken, that is the M form, right?
That's a good question.
Not gonna lie, I'm not sure.
I think it is. I don't ever use Blaze though. Oh, God.
I mean, you know, you can't always get people for commentary who know the game very well, so excuse us.
Squealer's banning us.
Yeah. It happens. It happens. Oh, there is an Iris ring for Mike, so there's 6 items for them. Let's see if next year for the Jelly Jam we see an increase of those points. But I actually think 5 is a very good number. It's a very good sweep spot.
Yeah, getting more than 1 point for Iris items, I feel like, is a little too much RNG. So having like a nice threshold of 5 and then it being a total of 1 point is sufficient. I still think they should be worth nothing. Or maybe if you get 5 Iris items, you automatically lose and the other team advances. I'd even be fine with that. But, you know, some of us view Iris items differently.
I mean, it does give commentators the opportunity to talk about a certain category, but I mean, do you want to get into it?
No.
Yeah, okay, same here. So in other news. Yeah, Mike has already made his way back to Brinsley this year. Which is, how far has it been? 30 minutes to get to 50 floors, probably playing a bit safe here. So that's a very nice time. I would be surprised if he clears the rest of this in 20 minutes. I want to say that is borderline impossible. But yeah, he can easily get the goal here that he was missing in the first round of earning a jewel. So that's why he's killing those Prince Lizards, and that could easily get their team another goal.
Yeah, in fact, actually, if he gets a twist jewel, it will make it a lot easier for him to get to the later floors to do the point objectives too. So if he gets that, it might be just enough to come back with some nice floor 80 points or something.
Yeah, so he definitely has the option of afflicting a status ailment to a Sphinx, of which Mrs. Mike has already done her half, and win a battle against an Orky. So that would be 2 additional points, and then of course he can still use Providence and change the party. Get another point right there. So yeah, that
he
alone.
Did get the twist too.
Oh, he did get the twist. Nice.
Yeah. So we're. Oh, but he looks to have seen a ninja and fainted. Oh, never mind. There he goes.
Nice.
I wouldn't have blamed him if he did.
Yeah. Yeah, so we see a bunch of genie farming for Domskee and HabKeineName. I think it's safe to assume that they're going for that point.
Pretty safe.
Which is definitely fair.
Pretty safe.
Yeah. I'm never seeing how they get into those encounters, you know, so all I'm seeing is genie battles, and I just assume by force of habit that they have to kill him, but yeah. Of course, that's not necessarily true.
Yeah. So, does Hob still doesn't have a Decker Blade, I believe.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any anyway.
So yeah, so right now it's kind of up to Domskee to get the kill within the next 16 minutes. Hopefully though, Hob can find Decker Blade on like floor 97 or something. I heard that happens.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I heard it too. Sometimes lucky.
Sometimes lucky. So say we all.
Yeah, so Domskee is at floor 85. He has marked his half of the genie goal, and as you said, I was kind of unaware of the time progressing this quickly, and there's actually only 15 minutes left because I was still in There Is a Lot of Time mode back from when Mrs. Mike was at the late floors at a very, very early stage. But yeah, I mean, 50 minutes for 15 floors. I'm not gonna say that's hard, but sometimes there can be roadblocks anyway, like a couple treasure rooms, a bad dragon corridor, or something like that. At the very least, he's approaching floor 88 quickly, from which point on he will be safe from Archfiends.
Yeah, I think that the real thing it'll come down to for whether he can get there in time to get the kill is whether or not he has to build IP. Because if he has to build IP on everyone and he gets some bad RNG with copper dragons or whatever he decides to farm it on, then it could be rough to make the time. But if he already has IP and he doesn't lose it, it's pretty easy to get to the end from where he's at.
Yeah, we're seeing it here. So everyone but Tia has full IP. I do not recall what his exact setup was because I'm getting it confused with Mike's in my head now. So, but either way, there is a good chance that. Never mind, he has full IP. I'm not gonna finish explaining that.
Well, he had the he has the Uncursed Deadly Sword, the Decker Blade, and I'm gonna assume he has either a Cancer Rock or a Hedora with how much they've been farming stuff. So he might not, but we'll just say until we see otherwise that he does.
He has that weird Phoenix that I guess none of us have seen before. So from what I heard, Blaze 5 is really capable. He does have
true too.
Yeah, he does have a very strong attack. So if that happens, that might be easily able to compensate for any lack of finishers. And then, of course, he could always have like a Silver Sword or, I don't know, a Red Saber, you know, something to help him. There is a bit of an annoying or possibly annoying room here. A couple of dragons guarding the stairs, but he gets lucky. Well, I mean, it wasn't a situation that required too much luck, just possibly a lot more time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's basically
in the final stretch.
Just trying. Exactly, yeah. I was about to say the same thing. He's basically at the last 10 floors. He's a point objective for killing a Dark Summoner, but as he's leaving a couple of them behind in the dust, I suppose that he's not going to go for that goal, which I think is sensible with the time constraints. Meanwhile, HabKeineName just hit floor 83, which is also still possible to reach the jelly in time. So, yeah, I also don't think that he has any kind of kill, at least not from what I've seen. Yeah, we'll see what happens here. Either way, they are still 3 points in the lead, which is reasonably comfortable at this point.
Yeah, and until Domskee dies, I'm gonna say it's definitely a comfortable, if not even insurmountable lead at this point with this much time left. Because I don't know how many point objectives Mike and Mrs. Mike are close to getting with the floors that they're on, but the amount of points that Domskee and HabKeineName are about to get, potentially at least, is it's looking pretty likely that he'll at least get to floor 99.
Yeah, so they do have to bring it home, as you said, which is not guaranteed. But Mike is also right in front of the Sphinx floors, which is going to give him another point. And then if he makes it to Orkies, which he should easily be able to do in the time, then yeah, that would be 2 more points for their team. And he can always Providence and change the party, which is the 3 points that they're missing. However, I do not know whether he has the required setup to actually get the Sphinx point. Yeah, I guess we'll just have to see. There is still an interesting amount of variables here. But I see Domskee at 95, so yeah, he's going there.
Yeah, we're about to hopefully no Dragon Cons on these last couple floors, so we will see a jelly fight, and from what I understand, it's going to be a close one. So it should be interesting.
I'm actually gonna be pretty optimistic here.
Yeah,
it's not that hard to compensate for finishers.
Yeah, I agree. Plus, he has a Gorgon, right? So he has at least 3 fractionals. Plus
Exactly.
a cancer great axe or something at the minimum for Guy. So
yeah, so I guess normally what you want to have, yeah. I mean, it's not as good as it can be, which is why our enthusiasm is a bit limited here. But it definitely, I think he has a good chance. It's not a guaranteed kill, maybe, but yeah, I think with a bit of help from the capsule and proper setup. Oh, and we get some. Oh wait,
calculator
only
action.
we can see that. Yeah, the calculator is interesting. You can't see that on stream, but
all I gotta say is
channel is being hit by a math attack.
all I gotta say is I don't have to break out my calculator now.
Yeah.
But you all should.
And so we see Domskee at the setup screen here. We see Decablade, Old Armor. He does have a Cancer Rock. He does have a Gorgon Rock. And the Hidor Rock. Very nice. So he's all kinds of safe for the kill. Never mind anything we were talking about. Yeah, he has a bunch of attack uppers if he needs it. He does have Tia, which I guess we ignored the entire run, right? You remember in the first minute we were talking about party setup and then never went back into it.
Yeah, see, I forgot that I was wondering about that and then saw Tia later and just didn't say anything. Yeah.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, so that is gonna make it a bit harder to get the kill here, but I'm gonna say it's still pretty much guaranteed unless he gets screwed by rolls.
Yeah, the amount of damage
the variance.
The amount of damage less that Tia will do over like Guy or something is not that massive, but it can be the difference. So
yeah, it is massive enough. Sometimes that's the problem. Yeah. So let's see what's gonna happen here. Unfortunately, we do not have the audio for that floor or the battle.
Wait, you have audio at all?
No.
Oh. Oh. So I'm gonna point out that Eli broke out this calculator for me to see and then didn't type anything down.
Okay, so did I see that correctly? He just got a 98% deadly sword followed by a 98% kill blow.
No.
Yeah.
No. That's too good.
So 98% meaning of the possible damage he could have gotten. So he's a total of 7,034 damage after the first turn. I mean, you can't complain about that. And he's double tricked already.
Yeah, it's
so let's see what that Phoenix did. But apparently I missed
Tia does great damage.
Like, yeah, it's alright.
Almost 1,000 damage.
For Tia, it's alright.
Whatever, dude. Was that turn 2?
Yeah, that was turn 2, and we're looking at 9,500 damage. So that was almost a 2-turn kill. Yeah, this is easily gonna be a finish for Domskee here, and he's got a couple of minutes and change to finish this run. So
yeah, let's get a GG for Domskee. The race isn't over, but a GG for the jelly kill at least. You know what I mean?
Exactly. 2 amazing rolls to be had here. That was really, unseen for me at the very least.
Yeah, that's high rolling for sure.
Yeah,
very nice to see.
So he has 6 minutes left, which I'm gonna say is not gonna be enough to Providence a second time and changing a party and all that. Although it is possible. Yeah, I don't want to discourage you from trying. Meanwhile, HabKeineName has basically 6 minutes to get to 499, and that will award him a point if they can do so at all. So, yeah, Domskee's racking up a couple of extra points here. simply by switching the party, even though he hasn't marked it yet. And yeah, we'll see a maybe not. Yeah, so we will see an interesting trick here. What?
Oh yeah, there it is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I see what happened. Yeah,
They
if you
gave the
open that
key away.
door, yeah, before talking to the guard, then you can actually get those items that you get as a reward for killing the jelly, take them back into the cave, and kind of get an advantage that way. Which, you know, I only at this point realized I forgot doing in my run.
Yeah.
Nice job, dude. Nice job.
Yeah, it's actually one of the cooler tricks in the category ACAC, which is a category where you have to beat the jelly with all characters. So you go in with 3 and then you get the other 3. And being able to bring in those like special red chest items with that little trick where you kind of trick the guard is really, really nice because they are pretty powerful items.
Yeah. And it's definitely a fun category. I will say people in the ancient cave community in general have done their best to come up with a couple of very interesting challenge runs and categories. Should have something for everyone. You can check that out at the Ancient Cave Discord if you want, by typing in !AC Discord in chat. Definitely happy about people joining us and gonna be helpful to everyone who wants to learn. Hopefully, you think so. But
Yeah, like I said earlier
HabKeineName.
too, just really quick, the AC Discord, even if you're not into the speedrunning aspect of it, you're just into the Lufia aspect of it, definitely check it out because everyone there loves Lufia, and there are even some of us that like the remake and some of the other games. It's true, we exist. And
I mean,
yeah,
it's not really a remake.
it's
It's like a new game that has parallels in the story, but gameplay-wise, it's entirely different. So yeah,
that's why it's a remake, not a remaster.
I mean, it's not. They're remaking, not the game.
You know what? Whatever. I like the game. It's a good game.
That's fair. That's fair.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely.
I'm not blaming people for their bad decisions, you know.
Yeah. Well, we all got our vices. But
Yeah, there we go.
it's definitely the best community around for anything Lufia related at this point. So check it out if you are interested.
Yeah. So HabKeineName is desperately trying to get past a couple of dragons here. Trying to get to his floor 99.
Oh, lucky.
Fortunately, encountering a Dark Summoner, but yeah, he was lucky there. I mean, stuff like that can happen if you're going fast, so I don't blame him there. If you see you got 2 more minutes at the clock, you will do questionable decisions whether you want to or not.
Yeah, and those Dark Summoners too, they could spawn with up to 4 people, and they can hit your whole party 2 times each. So luckily, it was just the 2.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Oh, what happened there? Oh, he Provident.
Oh.
And so did Mike. So I guess they're racking up their party change points. And obviously, since both of them are doing it, that amounts to exactly nothing. But yeah, it does increase the points total of both their teams by 1, which gives
22
HabKeineName's
points.
team.
My God.
23, I think. He hasn't marked it yet, but it should be at 23 to 17 for Team Mike. So that's, if you've been watching the last race, a good number of points, as I was saying earlier, easily outnumbering the points total of the previous race. But yeah, only sometimes lucky, right?
Only sometimes. It's pretty good though. Nice little. Obviously, Hob decided he didn't have a kill, so he wanted to just get those last points real quick before the timer ends.
Yeah. Just lifting the box for a little while. Meanwhile, Mike is showing off the GGs on the name screen. Very nice. And yeah, with 20 seconds left on the clock, Domskee is still, well, hoping for a couple of very quick stairs, I suppose. But I do not think he will get it in time. So yeah, 3 seconds left on the clock. That concludes the second of the semifinal races. And I'm going to leave it to Eli to, yeah,
let's get
take it from here, I suppose.
GG too. That was a good race. That's
Definitely.
a lot of points from Domskee and HabKeineName. That's methodical precision, just smashing those points. So
yeah, they definitely did good. No question about that.
Yeah, it's absolutely worth congratulating all of the runners. They did a fantastic job in showcasing some
hello.
pretty... Hello, Hab. Everyone did a great job in showing off what the cave had to offer in this run. We managed to get a jelly kill by Domskee pretty close to the end.
Nice.
So the winners of today's second round are HabKeineName and Domskee, with Mike and Mrs. putting up an extremely valiant effort along the way. I really thought the Mike's had it, and there were a couple little pinches that just bit them in the butt. And Hab did a fabulous job too, making it almost to the jelly before time ran out. Him being the only person who didn't have a Decker Blade, even though Domskee and Mike both had two, which was pretty entertaining.
You literally had nothing for the kill. The only thing I had was a Mr. I tried so hard to get the Darbots, I didn't find a single Darbot. I found Hydoras like mad, didn't get a Hydora. I found Guardians like mad, didn't even get one of those.
Yeah, he kept telling me about the items he needs all the time, and right when he said it, I got him twice.
Well, I'm happy I at least made Genies, I made the Orkies. I've done my best.
Yeah, Wu did an awesome job, I believe.
The sad thing was really just the death in the start, but I mean, about 20 minutes later, I was literally on the same point with the same equipment, so I could say I'm pretty happy with today. That Puck death was very unfortunate, but it happens sometimes.
GG guys, you played great. 23 points, super amazing score.
Yeah, GG Mike. I don't even know how much points you made.
The score was 23-17 between each of the teams, and
17. Oh,
if we're gonna go by points, I'd like to say that Mike and Mrs. Mike have, by points, earned themselves a third place out of the top 4 teams that were here in today's competition as well through the semifinals, which is, given what the cave threw at everybody today, is nothing to shake a stick at. So
definitely GG to all the runners. That was an interesting little race. Very nice.
Yeah, there was a lot to offer commentary on. Mike showed some pretty cool strats with the evil fish way early on. There was pretty good movement all around. Little hiccups here and there, but also a lot of really good movement. A lot of good stuff to show off and comment on, which is really awesome to see.
Then next week, basically the semi-final rematch from last year. Team RC Hop versus HabKeine and Guest.
Yep, it's going to be a thrilling conclusion.
Originally it was Ellie, so Domskee himself doesn't really have anything to do with that rematch, but looking forward to it, especially since it's final.
So this is, if a substitution is forced to occur by Domskee, I'm pretty sure I know who's going to be knocking on my door. Is that what I'm hearing, or...
I mean, we won last year, so why change a winning project? Now, but I'm very happy with Domskee. As I said a few times already, I didn't know anything about him when I just read his name as my teammate, and I'm definitely happy I got him because he's an awesome runner, especially considering how young he is in terms of cave running.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, and as a reminder to those watching, if there are still people in the audience, Domskee is probably the freshest runner that has entered the competition here, and he's definitely proven himself, having 2 phenomenal runs in a row, where he's definitely earned himself a keep and a name as the probable underdog of this competition. So next Saturday's Grand Championship with HabKeineName and Domskee versus Hoppy and Real Critical is going to be a pretty interesting show where we've got some people who are known for their expertise and knowledge in the cave, along with definitely the underdog and the Iris